The voice should be deep, resonant, and authoritative, yet filled with a sense of wonder and reverence. It should sound like a seasoned narrator of a grand documentary, capable of conveying profound, mystical concepts with clarity and gravitas. The pacing should be deliberate, allowing the weight of the words to sink in, with dramatic pauses used to emphasize key revelations. The tone should be one of guiding the listener on an epic journey of discovery, unveiling secrets that have been hidden for millennia. What if I told you that the reality you perceive, the solid ground beneath your feet, the vast sky above, the very thoughts you believe are your own, is only a shadow of the truth? What if I told you that the fundamental laws of the universe were written down thousands of years ago, and the keys to mastering your own existence, to becoming the architect of your fate, have been hidden in plain sight, waiting for the worthy to find them? This is not a journey into fiction. It is a journey into the heart of wisdom itself. A journey back to a time before empires rose and fell, before the philosophies we study today were ever conceived. We journey to find a single, monumental figure, a being so wise that he was known to antiquity as the Master of Masters, the Scribe of the Gods. His name was Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes, the thrice great. Who was he? A king? A philosopher? A god? History has veiled him in myth. The ancient Egyptians knew him as Thoth, the ibis-headed deity who gifted humanity writing, magic, and science. The ancient Greeks revered him as Hermes, the messenger of the gods. To posterity, he is a legend, a single luminary from whom all esoteric, mystical, and philosophical traditions have sprung. They say he walked the earth for centuries, a teacher to the nascent civilizations of humanity. His students were not ordinary men. They were the future architects of our world. Pythagoras, the father of mathematics and music theory, was said to have studied at his feet. Plato, whose ideas shaped Western philosophy, is believed to have drunk from his well of wisdom. The Gnostics, the alchemists of the Middle Ages, the Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, all trace their secret knowledge back to this one singular source. His legacy was not carved into stone monuments destined to crumble, but into pure, unadulterated wisdom, condensed into two legendary artifacts: the Emerald Tablet, a short, cryptic text said to contain the secret of the primordial substance and its transmutations, and the Kybalion, a collection of his core axioms, passed down orally for centuries from master to student, guarded from the profane and the unworthy. For millennia, this knowledge was whispered only in secret societies, in hidden temples, accessible only to initiates who had proven themselves ready to wield its power responsibly. It was considered forbidden knowledge, not because it was evil, but because of its sheer power. In the wrong hands, it could be used to manipulate. In the right hands, it could be used to liberate. Today, the veil is lifted. Today, we are going to decode the 7 Hermetic Principles as laid out in the Kybalion. These are not beliefs. They are not commandments. They are universal laws, as immutable and constant as the law of gravity. They govern all of existence, from the majestic dance of galaxies to the firing of a single neuron in your brain. To learn them is to be handed the operating manual for reality itself. To apply them is to cease being a victim of circumstance and become the conscious master of your life. This is not just a video. It is an initiation. Prepare yourself. The 7 keys to the universe await. The first key, the foundation upon which all others are built, is at once the simplest and the most mind-shattering. The Kybalion states it plainly: the all is mind, the universe is mental. Let that sink in. This is not a metaphor, it is a literal statement about the nature of reality. Everything you see, touch, hear, and experience, the stars, the mountains, your own body, is not happening in a vast, empty, unintelligent space. It is all happening within the boundless, infinite, living mind of what the Hermeticists called the All. The All is the ultimate reality, the source of everything. It is beyond name, beyond definition, beyond human comprehension. Any attempt to label it, God, consciousness, the source, inevitably falls short. It is the sum total of all that is, all that was, and all that ever will be. And this infinite reality, this ground of all being, is a mind, a vast, universal, conscious intelligence. The universe, therefore, is its mental creation. Just as you can create a universe within your own mind, with characters, landscapes, and stories, so too has the All created the universe we inhabit, but with one crucial difference. Its mental creation is perfectly real, perfectly substantial to us, the beings living within it. We are thoughts in the mind of the All, but a thought in an infinite mind is a living, breathing, conscious reality. For centuries, this concept was relegated to the realm of mysticism. But now, in the 21st century, our own cutting-edge science is beginning to brush up against this ancient truth. Consider the bizarre findings of quantum physics. At the subatomic level, the very building blocks of our physical world do not exist as solid particles until they are observed. They exist as waves of probability, a cloud of potential. It is the act of conscious observation that collapses this wave of potential into a single, concrete event. This is the famous observer effect. It implies that consciousness is not a random byproduct of the universe. It is fundamental to its existence. The universe requires an observer to become real. As the pioneering physicist Sir James Jeans put it, the stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. Or consider the rise of simulation theory. The idea that our reality could be an incredibly advanced computer simulation is no longer just science fiction. It's a serious hypothesis debated by physicists and philosophers. The Hermetic Principle of Mentalism is the organic, conscious version of this theory. The universe isn't a computer simulation, it is a consciousness simulation. What does this mean for you, a seemingly small being in a vast cosmos? It means everything. If the universe is a mental creation, then your mind is not separate from it. It is a part of it, operating by the exact same principles. You are a mind living within a greater mind. Your thoughts are not just idle, powerless things. They are real forces. They are your tool for creation. Most people live as passive recipients of reality. They believe the external world is a fixed, solid thing to which they must react. But the Hermeticist, the student of this first principle, understands the truth. The external world is a reflection of the internal. The circumstances of your life are not random. They are a mirror of your predominant mental states. Your reality is shaped not by what you want, but by what you subconsciously believe and consistently think. This is the foundation of all true power. You cannot change the world out there by fighting it. You change it by changing the thoughts in here. You are not merely a character in this cosmic drama. You are a co-creator, a focal point of the universal mind, endowed with the same creative power. The first step in wielding this power is to become the master of your own mental kingdom. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Are they thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation? Or are they thoughts of abundance, courage, and possibility? Every thought you hold is a blueprint you are sending to the universal mind. Every feeling you sustain is an energetic signature that attracts corresponding experiences. To change your life, you must first change your mind. This is not wishful thinking. It is about deep, disciplined, conscious creation. It is about understanding that you are a creator, standing in the center of your own mental universe. And what you build there, in the realm of mind, must eventually manifest in the realm of matter. This is the first and greatest secret. The universe is not a dead machine. It is a living, conscious, intelligent mind. And you are an inseparable part of it, a mind within the mind, gifted with the power to create your own reality. Embrace this truth, and you have taken the first step from being a pawn of fate to becoming a master of destiny. Once we grasp the monumental truth that the universe is a mental creation, the second principle, correspondence, provides us with a master key for unlocking its secrets. The Kybalion expresses this law with a timeless axiom: as above, so below. As below, so above. This is one of the most famous phrases in all of esoteric literature, yet its profound meaning is often misunderstood. It is not just a poetic saying, it is a statement of a precise universal law of analogy. It means that there is always a correspondence, a harmony, an agreement between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being and life. Imagine reality as a grand, multi-storied building. There is the physical plane, the world of matter and energy that our senses perceive. Above that is the mental plane, the realm of thought, emotion, and intellect. And above that is the spiritual plane, the realm of pure consciousness, of the All itself. The principle of correspondence tells us that the same patterns, the same laws, the same fundamental truths repeat on every single level. The patterns you see in the largest structures of the cosmos are mirrored in the smallest atoms. The laws that govern the spiritual realm are reflected in the laws that govern your mental and physical life. As above, so below. This principle is humanity's greatest tool for discovery. By observing the patterns below, in the world we can see and measure, we can come to understand the hidden truths above, in the realms of mind and spirit. Look at the world around you. Nature is the ultimate teacher of this principle. See the intricate, branching pattern of a river delta, how it carves its way to the sea. Now, look at the veins in your own hand. Look at the branches of a tree reaching for the sky. Look at the shape of a lightning bolt. It is the same fundamental pattern repeating on different scales in different contexts, a fractal. Consider the atom, a nucleus with electrons orbiting it. Now look up at our solar system, a sun with planets orbiting it. For a long time, this was seen as a simple analogy, but modern physics suggests it may be more than that. The same laws of force and motion are at play. As above, so below. This principle is the reason science is possible. The astronomer studies the distant galaxies to understand the origins of the universe. The geologist studies the layers of the Earth to understand the history of our planet. The psychologist studies the patterns of human behavior to understand the workings of the mind. In each case, we are studying one level of reality to deduce the laws of another. But the true power of this principle is not just for scientists. It is a profound tool for self-understanding and personal transformation. If as above, so below is true, then your external world, your physical health, your relationships, your financial situation is a direct reflection of your internal world. Your reality is a mirror. If your life is filled with chaos and conflict, the principle of correspondence invites you to look within, to the chaos and conflict in your own mind. If you experience lack and scarcity in your finances, where is the underlying belief in lack and scarcity within your own self-worth? Your relationship with money is a direct correspondence to your relationship with your own value. If you find yourself repeatedly attracting the same type of unhealthy relationship, the pattern is not out there. It corresponds to an unhealed pattern in here. The outer world is simply showing you, through the language of experience, what is happening on the hidden planes of your own consciousness. This can be a difficult truth to accept, as it removes the ability to blame. You can no longer see yourself as a victim of external forces, but in its place, it gives you immense power. Because if your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, then to change your circumstances, you need only change yourself. This is the essence of true alchemy. The medieval alchemists who sought to turn lead into gold were in their highest form not just metallurgists, they were mystics. The lead was the dense, heavy, unconscious aspects of the human psyche: fear, ignorance, and ego. The gold was the illumined, radiant, divine consciousness. The alchemical laboratory was the human soul, and the axiom that guided their great work was as above, so below. They knew that by transmuting the base elements of their own character, they could create a corresponding golden reality. So, how do you use this principle? Become a pattern seeker in your own life. Look at the recurring themes, the repeating challenges. Do not dismiss them as bad luck. See them as a sacred correspondence. Ask yourself, what inner state is this outer situation reflecting? What pattern in my thoughts or beliefs is creating this pattern in my life? Use the known to understand the unknown. If you feel stuck, study the flow of a river. It does not smash against obstacles, it flows around them, patiently, persistently, always finding its way to the sea. Apply that lesson below to your problem above. The principle of correspondence tears down the veil between the spiritual and the mundane. It shows us that every object, every event, every relationship in our physical life is imbued with spiritual meaning. It is all a reflection of a higher law. Your life is a sacred text, and this principle is the key to its interpretation. Learn to read the patterns, and you will learn to master the laws that create them. Having understood that the universe is mental and that all its planes correspond, we now arrive at the third great Hermetic principle: vibration. This principle explains the dynamics of the mental universe. The Kybalion encapsulates it in a single, powerful declaration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This truth has been a cornerstone of esoteric thought for millennia, but it is only in the last century that modern science has fully confirmed it. Everything you perceive as solid and static is in fact a whirlwind of motion. The chair you are sitting on, the walls around you, the very ground beneath you, They are all composed of atoms, and those atoms are composed of particles spinning around each other at incredible speeds, vibrating in a ceaseless dance. There is no such thing as stillness in the universe. From the densest matter to the most ethereal form of energy, everything is in a state of constant vibration. And the difference between the various manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit is due entirely to their varying rates of vibration. Think of it like a spectrum. At the lowest end of the spectrum, you have extremely slow vibrations. These manifest as what we call dense matter, rock, wood, metal. As the frequency of vibration increases, we move up the spectrum through light, heat, and electricity. Higher still, we enter the realms of the mind. A thought is a form of vibration. An emotion is a form of vibration. A lazy, unfocused thought has a low frequency. A sharp, focused, powerful thought has a very high frequency. Love, gratitude, and joy are emotions with extremely high, rapid vibrations. Fear, anger, and despair are emotions with low, dense vibrations. And at the highest conceivable end of the spectrum is the all, the universal mind, whose vibration is so infinitely fast and powerful that it appears to be at rest, just as a rapidly spinning wheel can appear motionless. This principle reveals a profound secret. Matter and energy are not two different things. Mind and spirit are not separate from matter. They are all simply different points on the same continuous spectrum of vibration, distinguished only by their frequency. This understanding is the basis for all so-called miracles and psychic phenomena. The master who can walk through walls does not violate the laws of nature. They understand them. They have learned to raise the vibration of their physical body until it is on a similar plane as the matter of the wall, allowing them to pass through it. The healer who can mend a wound with a touch has learned to attune the vibration of the injured tissue to its original healthy frequency. This is not fantasy. It is advanced physics understood and applied by masters for eons. Our own technology is a testament to this principle. We manipulate vibrations to create everything in our modern world. We use radio waves, a form of vibration, to transmit information across the globe. We use microwaves, another vibration, to cook our food. We use X-rays, a higher vibration still, to see inside the human body. We have learned to master the lower end of the vibrational spectrum. The Hermetic master learns to control the upper end. So, how does this apply to you in your daily life? This principle is the how behind the law of attraction. You have heard that like attracts like. The principle of vibration explains why. It is not a mystical belief, it is a law of vibrational resonance. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel radiates a specific vibrational frequency out into the universal mind. This frequency acts like a tuning fork. It will naturally attract people, circumstances, and events that are vibrating at a similar frequency. If your predominant vibration is one of fear and lack, you will inevitably attract experiences that validate that fear and lack. You will be tuned to the fear and lack channel of reality. If your predominant vibration is one of joy, gratitude, and abundance, you will attract experiences that match that frequency. You will be tuned to the joy and abundance channel of reality. The universe does not give you what you want with your conscious mind. It gives you what you are with your vibrational being. Therefore, the most important work you can ever do is to consciously manage and elevate your own vibration.
This is the true meaning of spiritual work. It is vibrational hygiene. How do you raise your vibration? First, through your thoughts. Every time you consciously choose a thought of hope over despair, of empowerment over victimhood, you are raising your frequency. Second, through your emotions. This is even more powerful, as emotions are concentrated thought forms. Cultivate the emotions of the reality you wish to experience. Do not wait for the external world to give you a reason to feel joy or gratitude. Generate those feelings from within now. Feel the gratitude for the health you desire as if you already have it. Feel the joy of the loving relationship you seek before it arrives. This is not faking it. It is an act of conscious creation. You are sending out the vibrational signal that will draw the experience to you. Third, through your physical environment. Surround yourself with things that make you feel good. Listen to music that uplifts you. Spend time in nature, which has a naturally high and harmonious vibration. Avoid constant exposure to low vibration media filled with fear and negativity. Your body is a vibrational instrument. What you eat affects its frequency. Living, natural foods have a higher vibration than processed, lifeless foods. Exercise raises your vibration by getting energy moving. By consciously applying the principle of vibration, you become a master tuner of your own reality. You stop being a passive receiver of whatever frequency happens to be playing and become the one who chooses the station. You understand that your feelings are your most powerful creative tool. Your emotional state is not just a reaction to your life, it is the very cause of it. Master your vibration, and you master your universe.
With the understanding that everything is a vibration, we can now explore the fourth great principle, polarity. This principle explains the nature of these vibrations and gives us the key to mental alchemy, the power to change our reality. The Kybalion states, everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. At first glance, this seems like a series of contradictions. But within this paradox lies one of the most profound and practical of all the Hermetic laws. This principle teaches that everything that exists has an opposite. But these opposites are not, in fact, separate things. They are merely two extremes of the same thing. Consider temperature. What are heat and cold? Are they two distinct phenomena? No. They are both simply variations of temperature. There is no absolute point where heat ends and cold begins. It is a single continuum. Heat and cold are just names we give to the two poles of the same scale. Think of light and darkness. Darkness is simply the absence of light. They are two poles of the one phenomenon of illumination. Good and evil, they are poles on the scale of human morality. Courage and fear, they are poles on the scale of human emotion. Love and hate, they are not separate emotions. They are two different degrees of the same intense feeling of connection or aversion towards something. You cannot truly hate something you are indifferent to. Hate requires a powerful energetic connection, just as love does. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree.
This is the key. The difference between any two poles is simply a matter of vibration. This principle explains so many of life's mysteries. It reconciles paradoxes. Is man mortal or immortal? Both. He is mortal on the physical plane, immortal on the spiritual. All truths are but half-truths. Any statement is only true from a certain point of view, on a certain level of the spectrum. The opposite statement is also true from the opposite pole. But the true world-changing power of this principle lies in what the Hermeticists called the art of mental alchemy. If two opposites are just different degrees of the same thing, then it must be possible to change one into the other by altering its vibration. And since the universe is mental, this transmutation can be performed within your own mind. You can change your own mental poles from negative to positive. This is the secret to mastering your emotions and, by extension, your reality. You are not a slave to your feelings. You can consciously choose to change them. You can transmute fear into courage. How? Not by fighting the fear, not by pretending it doesn't exist. That only gives it more power. You do it by recognizing that fear and courage are the same energy on the same scale, just at different vibrational poles. The process is one of conscious attention and will. When you feel fear rising, do not resist it. Acknowledge it. Then, consciously decide to focus on the opposite pole, courage. Deliberately shift your thoughts. Visualize yourself acting with courage. Remember a time you felt brave. Embody the physical posture of courage. Stand tall. Breathe deeply. You are using your will to slide your consciousness up the scale from the negative pole of fear to the positive pole of courage. You are not destroying the fear. You are transmuting its energy. The same emotional energy that was fueling your paralysis can now fuel your heroic action. This applies to any pair of opposites. You can transmute hatred into love. When you feel hatred for another person, you are powerfully connected to them by a low vibration energy. To free yourself, you must polarize your mind. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to like them. It means choosing to slide up the scale towards indifference, and then, if you choose, towards compassion and understanding, the pole of love. You do this by changing your focus from what you hate about them to seeking, even for a moment, to understand their pain, their perspective. You raise the vibration of your thought about them. This is the ultimate form of self-control. Most people are swung back and forth by their moods and emotions, slaves to the pendulum of their own polarity. They feel happy when something good happens, sad when something bad happens. They are entirely reactive. The mental alchemist learns to control this swing. They understand that their internal state does not have to be a reflection of their external state. They can be experiencing a difficult situation externally while maintaining a state of peace and resolve internally. They achieve this by mastering the art of polarization, consciously choosing the mental pole they wish to occupy, regardless of external temptation. This is not about being emotionless. It is about being the master of your emotions. It is about understanding that every mental state has its opposite, and you have the divine power to choose which pole you inhabit. Practice this daily. When you feel lazy, polarize towards energy. When you feel sad, polarize towards joy. It requires will and discipline, but it is a skill that can be developed. By mastering the principle of polarity, you take the creative power you discovered in the principle of mentalism and the vibrational understanding from the principle of vibration, and you learn to apply them with surgical precision. You become a true mental alchemist, capable of turning the lead of any negative state into the pure gold of a positive one. This is not just changing how you feel. This is changing the very fabric of the reality you will experience next.
If polarity teaches us that everything has two poles, the fifth principle, rhythm, teaches us about the movement between those poles. It reveals the dynamic, cyclical nature of the universe. The Kybalion states, everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. This principle is visible everywhere. We see it in the rising and setting of the sun, the ebb and flow of the tides, the changing of the seasons, the inhalation and exhalation of our own breath, the cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. The universe operates in cycles, in rhythms. There is always a swing from one pole to the other, an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking. This law governs the grandest scales and the most mundane. The history of civilizations shows a rhythmic swing from barbarism to civilization and back again. Economies swing between periods of boom and bust. Even our own moods and energy levels swing back and forth. There are days you feel energetic and inspired, and days you feel lethargic and unmotivated. This is the pendulum of rhythm at play. To the uninitiated, this law can seem cruel. It implies that every high must be followed by a low, that every period of happiness must be compensated by a period of sadness. Many people live their lives as victims of this pendulum. They are swept up in the euphoria of the swing to the right, only to be plunged into despair on the inevitable swing to the left. They are constantly reacting, never in control, their emotional state entirely dependent on where the pendulum is in its arc. But the Hermetic Master does not seek to stop the pendulum. That is impossible. The law of rhythm is universal. Instead, the Master learns to escape its effects. They learn to rise above the swing. The Kybalion teaches a mental law called the law of neutralization. This is the art of rising your consciousness to a higher plane, to what is called the higher self or the ego in the spiritual sense, not the psychological one. From this elevated vantage point, you can observe the pendulum swinging below you without being caught in its momentum. Imagine you're standing on the floor and a large pendulum is swinging back and forth. As it swings, it will knock you from side to side. You are at the mercy of its rhythm. Now, imagine you climb a ladder until your feet are above the pendulum's highest arc. From here, you can watch it swing. You can acknowledge its movement, understand its rhythm, but you are no longer affected by it. You have neutralized its power over you. This is what the Master does on the mental plane. When they feel the swing of a negative mood approaching, sadness, anger, frustration, they do not get caught up in it. They do not identify with it. Instead, they rise their consciousness above it. They say, I see this feeling of sadness. I acknowledge the pendulum is swinging in that direction, but I am not that sadness. I am the observer watching the swing.
This is the essence of mindfulness and emotional detachment. You recognize that your moods, your thoughts, and even many of your life circumstances are part of this universal rhythm, but your true self, your core consciousness, is not. Your true self is the calm, still center around which the storms of life may rage. This is an advanced mental art, and it requires practice. The first step is awareness. Start observing the rhythms in your own life. Notice your energy cycles, your emotional patterns. See how a period of intense work is often followed by a period of fatigue. See how a moment of great joy can be followed by a subtle feeling of melancholy. Do not judge it, just observe it. Recognize the pendulum at work. The second step is non-identification. When a negative state begins its swing, refuse to become it. Create a space between your consciousness and the feeling. You can even use the art of polarity that we learned earlier. As the pendulum swings towards a negative pole, you can consciously apply your will to polarize yourself towards the positive, thereby lessening the impact of the negative swing.
We now arrive at the sixth principle, the one that deals with fate, free will, and destiny, the principle of cause and effect. For many, this is the law that transforms them from a passive victim into a sovereign creator. The Kybalion states, every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for a law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. This principle is absolute. There is no such thing as chance. There are no accidents. There are no coincidences. What we call luck or chance is simply our ignorance of the complex web of causes that led to a particular effect. Every single thought you have, every word you speak, every action you take is a cause. And every cause, without exception, will create an effect. This effect, in turn, becomes a new cause, creating a new effect in an unbroken chain of causation stretching back to the very beginning of creation. Most of humanity is caught in this chain, completely unaware. They are the effects of causes they do not understand. They are blown about by the wills and desires of others, by the pull of their genetic heritage, by the conditioning of their environment. They are like pawns on the chessboard, moved by unseen hands, living out a script they did not write. They are the masses, living lives of quiet desperation, feeling powerless against the currents of fate. But the Hermetic Master knows better. The Master understands that while the law is inescapable, it can be worked with. By understanding the relationship between cause and effect, they can learn to operate on a higher plane of causation. The Kybalion teaches that there are different planes of cause and effect. Most people operate on the lowest plane, the plane of physical and social circumstance. They are ruled by the causes of their environment. The Master, however, learns to rise to a higher plane, the mental plane. From here, they can consciously choose the causes they set in motion. Instead of being the effect of their circumstances, they become the cause of them. Imagine a person who is constantly in debt. The average person sees this as an effect of a bad economy, a low-paying job, or unexpected expenses. They see themselves as a victim of these external effects. The student of Hermetism looks deeper. They ask, what is the cause on the mental plane? They might find that the cause is a deep-seated belief in lack, a subconscious feeling of unworthiness, or a habit of impulsive spending rooted in emotional insecurity. These are the mental causes. The debt is merely the physical effect. To change the effect, you cannot simply fight it on its own plane. Trying to earn more money without changing the underlying mental cause is like trying to dam a river without stopping the source. The pressure will just build and break through somewhere else. The Master works on the higher plane. They go to the source.
They work to change the belief in lack into a belief in abundance. They heal the feeling of unworthiness. They address the emotional insecurity. By changing the mental cause, the physical effect must change. It is the law. This is the meaning of true free will. Free will is not the ability to break the law of cause and effect. That is impossible. Free will is the ability to rise to a higher plane and become a conscious cause maker, rather than remaining an unconscious effect. This requires taking radical responsibility for your life. You must be willing to look at every single effect in your reality, your health, your wealth, your relationships, and ask, how did I cause this? What thoughts, beliefs, or actions of mine set this in motion? This is not about blame, it is about power. As long as you blame something outside of yourself, you are powerless to change it. The moment you claim responsibility, you reclaim your power to create a new cause, and therefore a new effect. The masses are played upon. The masters do the playing. But the game is always fair, because it is governed by an immutable law. The masters are not exempt from the law. They are simply using it more skillfully. They have become conscious players in the game of life. How do you begin to apply this? First, become a meticulous observer of cause and effect in your own life. When something happens, good or bad, trace it back. Look for the seeds you planted in the past that have now borne fruit. Second, become intensely conscious of the seeds you are planting today. Every thought is a seed. Every word is a seed. Every action is a seed. Are you planting seeds of kindness or seeds of resentment? Are you planting seeds of discipline or seeds of indulgence? Are you planting seeds of courage or seeds of fear? Be certain that you will reap the harvest of whatever you sow. Third, operate from the highest plane you can. When faced with a challenge, do not simply react on the physical plane. Rise to the mental plane. Ask, what is the highest thought I can have about this situation? What is the most loving action I can take? Set your causes from a place of wisdom and consciousness, not from a place of fear and reactivity. By mastering the principle of cause and effect, you take the final step in becoming the sovereign of your own reality. You understand that your life is not a dress rehearsal. It is the grand performance, and you are both the writer and the lead actor. Your future is not a destination you are traveling to. It is a reality you are creating cause by cause, moment by moment.
We have now arrived at the seventh and final Hermetic principle, the capstone of the entire system, the principle of gender. This principle, when understood, unlocks the secrets of all creation. The Kybalion states, gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. It is crucial to understand from the outset that this has nothing to do with physical sex. Physical sex is merely one manifestation of this universal principle on the physical plane. The principle of gender is far grander, far more profound. It states that everything in the universe, from the smallest atom to the grandest galaxy, from the most abstract idea to the most concrete object, contains within it two fundamental creative energies, the masculine and the feminine. These are not opposing forces, they are complementary principles, and both are required for any act of creation to take place. The masculine principle is the energy of projection, of giving out, of action, of will, of assertion. It is the spark, the initiator, the seed. Its archetypal energy is positive. The feminine principle is the energy of reception, of drawing in, of nurturing, of gestation, of intuition. It is the womb, the fertile ground, the chalice. Its archetypal energy is negative. Let's be clear.
Positive and negative here have no connotation of good or bad. They are used in the electrical sense like the positive and negative poles of a battery. Both are absolutely essential for energy to flow and for anything to be created. Creation happens on all planes, and it always follows this formula. On the physical plane, we see this most obviously in procreation. The masculine provides the seed, the feminine provides the womb, and from their union, a new life is generated. On the mental plane, the process is the same. Your mind has a feminine aspect and a masculine aspect. The feminine aspect is the subconscious, the realm of imagination, intuition, and emotion. This is the fertile ground where ideas are conceived. The masculine aspect is the conscious mind, the realm of logic, reason, and will. This is the force that takes the conceived idea and projects it out into the world through action. Every single thing that has ever been invented by humanity followed this process. An idea, a spark of inspiration, was first received by the inventor's feminine mental principle. It was a moment of intuition, a what if. This seed of an idea was then nurtured, gestated in the womb of the subconscious. Then the masculine principle of will and focused action took over. The inventor drew up blueprints, gathered materials, and built the invention, manifesting the idea from the mental plane into the physical plane. A person who is out of balance will be an inefficient creator. Someone with a strong masculine principle but a weak feminine one might be very busy, always taking action, but their actions are barren. They lack creativity, intuition, and inspiration. They are all push with no receptive flow. Conversely, someone with a strong feminine principle but a weak masculine one might be a brilliant dreamer, filled with incredible ideas and profound insights, but they never bring them into reality. They are all conception with no birth. True creative genius in any field is found in a person who has balanced and harmonized these two principles within themselves. They are both the visionary and the builder. This principle also operates on the spiritual plane. The all itself contains these two principles. The feminine aspect can be thought of as the infinite, potential-filled void, the cosmic womb. The masculine aspect can be thought of as the divine will, the spark that projects itself into that womb to create the universe. So how do you apply this final, powerful principle? First, seek to find balance within yourself. Acknowledge and honor both your masculine and feminine energies. Cultivate your feminine side by practicing meditation, spending time in nature, listening to your intuition, and allowing yourself to simply be without always doing. Cultivate your masculine side by setting clear goals, practicing self-discipline, taking decisive action, and strengthening your willpower. This is the creative energy with which you can manifest your dreams into reality.
We have journeyed through the 7 sacred laws of the universe. The principle of mentalism, which revealed that all is mind. The principle of correspondence, which showed us that the patterns repeat on every plane. The principle of vibration, which taught us that everything is in motion. The principle of polarity, which gave us the key to mental alchemy. The principle of rhythm, which taught us to rise above the tides of life. The principle of cause and effect, which placed the scepter of destiny in our own hands. And the principle of gender, which unveiled the secrets of creation. These 7 principles are not separate teachings. They are facets of a single magnificent diamond of truth. They work in perfect harmony, one supporting the other, providing a complete system for understanding and mastering your existence. This knowledge is not meant to be a mere intellectual curiosity. It is a call to action,
It is a challenge to stop living life on autopilot, to awaken from the slumber of unconsciousness, and to claim your divine birthright as a conscious creator. You are not a victim. You are not a pawn. You are not a feather tossed in the wind of fate. You are a mind within the universal mind. You are a center of vibration, capable of attuning yourself to any reality you choose. You are a mental alchemist with the power to transmute any negative into a positive. You are the master of your own inner kingdom, poised and serene above the rhythmic swings of the world. You are the cause, the planter of seeds, the weaver of your own destiny. You are a harmonized being of masculine will and feminine intuition, a conduit for the creative force of the cosmos. This is the forbidden knowledge of Hermes Trismegistus. Forbidden, not because it is dangerous, but because it is liberating. It dissolves all fear. It removes all blame. It places the full power and responsibility for your life exactly where it has always been, within you. The keys have now been given. The door is now open. The only question that remains is, are you ready to walk through it?